Basically, the turning point came after the initial phase, in terms of at the time that I started my business 12 years ago. I was much younger. I look much younger than today, at least. At least I try to convince my wife that of that. And basically, when we come to the presentations and trying to sell our service to our clients, they would look at me and they would say that, well, who is this really Sandiaga? I want to meet with him. I don't want to meet with his staff, or are you his nephew? I said, no, I'm Sandiaga Uno. I said, it is not possible. You're so young and you want to give me financial advice during these difficult times. So it was really a beginning. Being young is discriminated. But once you prove the first project in terms of selling your financial advice and earning your fees, in terms of that would be the first turning point. Earning the fees was good, but then come to realizations in terms of collecting the fees is another thing, because the customer would say that, oh, well, thank you for this restructuring advice. Come back in 1 month. And then I come back in 1 month. I said, well, we have some missed payments. Come back in another 15 days to another 2 weeks. And then we came back in another 2 weeks. They said that, would you consider of us paying in some of our financial instruments, meaning shares of the company, and plus some old repossessed cars that we have? And I said that, well, I need to pay salaries for myself and for my employees. What would the shares in your company and some old junk 10 years old cars would do? But I guess that was the thing, and we have to take it. We sold the cars. We pay some salaries by selling the cars. That shares that was given to us, we still kept it for about 5 years. And thank God, alhamdulillah, that shares turning to close to 20,000 times the value because of the crisis. And that's how I started the coal business, because we were given shares in that particular company. And that company is now the second largest Indonesian coal mine.
Very good. All right, good. Sandy, your thoughts about the value of education outside your native country?
Well, I was lucky in terms of getting a scholarship to go to school here in the U.S. And I think the very, very fundamental educations that I got during my stay in the U.S. is exposures. Meeting people from different countries, especially later on when I spent some time here in Washington, D.C. Suddenly we have in a classroom people from close to 30 countries, speaking close to 27 different languages from different religions. I think that exposure helped me a lot in terms of dealing with multiple cultures inside the business. Secondly is the mindset itself. In the U.S., we learn the American dreams, and that is, I think, what we right now, especially when I'm speaking to young kids at the university in terms of spreading entrepreneurship, is you guys are allowed to have a dream. The dream will carry you, and once you have a dream and you find inspirations to carry the dream, that's pretty much the lesson that I learned from the U.S. Third is network. When you are abroad, then you suddenly have the world and the global network with you. My very first believer was in our business was an investors that I met during my school in the U.S. And that allows me to basically expand by telling my people from my hometown. I said that people from the U.S. believe in my business here in Indonesia. Why you as my fellow countrymen would not put money in our business.
Your companies contribute philanthropically. Do you have a percentage of your profits, or do you have any policies towards social giving?
Indonesia is the first country, I believe, in the world that put corporate social responsibility as a statute in the company law, whereby companies now must allocate certain portion of their profit into corporate social responsibility. But being an entrepreneur, and many of you would have the same experience that I'm having currently and for the past 2 years, that really making profit is no longer your goal beyond certain points. You want to see others to be successful. You want to help other entrepreneurs, or you want to help your communities. You want to help make your country a better country. Is becoming more and more relevant to you, rather than getting more profits next year, turning more revenues, making your company the biggest market capitalizations in the stock exchange. So I believe it is questions whether it's voluntary or mandatory. Now in Indonesia we have both mechanisms. By law it's mandatory for companies to provide for corporate social responsibility, but it is all in us as entrepreneurs. We feel that we voluntarily must contribute to society, and I think that is the true nature of every entrepreneur, to give back and to share back to society.
Very good, very good. Additional questions? Yeah, we have. That might have made a big difference. Anybody? All right. Sandy?
Well, I think education is really important. In our society in Indonesia, if you look at the culturally and social structures, entrepreneurs will be really at the bottom of the hierarchy in terms of where parents want to see their kids grow up to be. First is government officials. Everybody in the society wants their kids to be government officials. Second is academicians, and third, working in large multinational corporations. And entrepreneurs is like the last priority, because people who become entrepreneurs are people who cannot get job in the government and who cannot get job in a multinational, and is not smart enough to be professors. So what I want to see change is basically in our society more tolerance towards failure. Because when we failed in our business, it is very embarrassing. And especially when you go home and lost your money and you have to go back to live with your parents, as I did when I lost my job. I stayed 9 months with my parents. Is perceived to be very a taboo in our society. So I want to see more policy towards creating risk tolerance in our society. I want to have educations that would go into like kindergarten, to teach this kindergarten not to be working and preparing their CV or resume, but they would go out and create jobs. They go out and pursue their dreams and make business and make sure that failure is acceptable in our society.
Very good.
I have been extremely lucky. I could have failed many times, because entrepreneurs did not have access to capital when I first started my business. Didn't get proper training and pretty much have problems accessing markets. Out of the success ratio, out of 10 entrepreneurs, probably 2 entrepreneurs pretty much make it there, and 8 was a failure. So my dream now, pretty much, and inspired by Professor Yunus, I went to see Professor Yunus in Bangladesh last year.
Professor Yunus, please stand up so everyone can see you. Professor, good to have you here. Thank you. And Professor Yunus will be on a panel later on during our seminars. So thank you very much for joining us.
So I learned from him, leaders inspire other leaders. So I saw him and I was really inspired by him, and I said that what if those 50 million micro entrepreneurs in Indonesia that doesn't have microfinance backup, would be able to manage their business with more help in terms of access to capital. So that would be my next dream, building the biggest, largest microfinance institution in Indonesia.
All right.